Hello, my name is Stephanie D. Johnson, and I go by the name Nashma, and I do not have a sign name. I am from Buffalo, New York, and about 11 years ago, I grew up there as a kid and experienced horrible racism and a lot of division within the community. So that really resonated with me. When I was about 15, I attended a school for the deaf and didn't know any ASL, but I did pick up and learned and experienced a lot. And so when I went to Gallaudet in 1995, I recognized, wow, it's just like a lot of diversity and identity where different types of people fit in with each other. And racism was still strong of my concern. So I decided to leave and lived in Georgia to work. I really enjoyed it there, just the most amazing experience, and the identity and culture, and really resonated inside of me. This is where I got the idea to set up my first organization called Survive, Sisters Gaining Equality of Deaf Lesbians of Color. So, that is where I also thought join another group, an organization called ZAMI. That was for hearing lesbians, women of color. And so now understand, Survive focused on racism and autism, and ZAMI focused on sexism and poverty and classism, different kinds of identity. And, I was really able to learn and understand the responsibility and, how I can analyze and apply my learning to both of the organizations of deaf and hearing in those communities of that intersectionality and their identity, and dive deeper into that, and the word intersexuality, is really important, and that's such a powerful word, and it means in the deaf community. This is the reason why I live and walk and breathe today, and the reason why the deaf community has all of these types of identities and level of poverty that makes me, who I am today. And that's a really important word to know what intersectionality means. And I want to be involved and share within the community. Now, the word homegrown and grassroots, many deaf people look down or on that word and judge and only choose people within the deaf community. So this taught me how their community congregates together and their experiences along with mine, and how I can work together, share my experiences and things that I have learned with each other in the communities. So I went back to college around 2008 and studied deaf studies and focused more of people of color. When I went back to school, I recognized more, I went back to Gallaudet and noticed the improvement from the year, in 1995, when racism and sexism was overlooked back in that time. So I noticed that and was very interested in that. And what should I do? And that's why I studied deaf studies. I saw more sexual violence and racism. So I really wanted to study and see how it overlaps and how I can apply my learnings. So I went to graduate school and studied, mental health, where I became a counselor. And I realized we need to be more aware of people in their stories and their experiences. And I really need to take a look at my behavior and how I play a role in oppression, and need to take a step back and analyze as well as see the overlap and look at others who have experienced oppression with hard of hearing, deaf and deafblind. And in 2009, 2010, I met with a woman. Her name is Delisha Singleton, and I have the same experiences with her of being of color, but we were raised differently, and we decided to sit down and talk about our experiences in our communities. We decided to set up an organization called TAS, which is called Take a Stand. We wanted to figure, a way to have people in the communities, in colleges, how we can improve and focus on the communities and have access to college and language, and how can we do that and more support together and have that be important and a benefit within the groups, and how we can make the deaf community have that access. Some don't have that access. We don't want specifically deaf people, but all types of individuals have equal access. This type of work we do is not just only in churches or in a community or anti-bias work. We also work using words with intersexuality. So I actually taught a class at the university, a professional interpreting training and practices, specialized training for people who work with deaf individuals. And today, I work at a professional level, working with people with children and new teachers, newly exposed, to deaf children themselves and of color. And I, really am looking forward to connecting with these communities and encouraging them to focus more on anti-biasm and intersexuality and create more deaf schools because of this, and gaining more self, responsibility and growing this community more awareness to be accountable and focus, on them feeling more comfortable and having more accountability. And I really value that, and focusing on the issues today and how important they are, and have the education to spread to the communities. Also, thank you for your time and letting me share my story with you.